So what is GRE testing through vocabulary based questions? If you understand, or if you know, the text completion and the sentence equivalence questions are fundamentally expecting you to understand the sentences which are given partially, as well as you need to know a good amount of vocabulary, or rather good range of vocabulary, so that you can fill in the right word over there. So what are they expecting, or why are they asking these questions, right? So generally GRE is expecting you to be good with English as a language. That's what they're testing, and they feel that vocabulary is one of the important elements to judge how good is your English. So they are giving you certain words which they feel are relatively easier. Some of them are hard, and some of them are easy to medium, somewhere on the medium level, so that they can actually bifurcate the students where they stand. At the end of the day, they expect you to understand when you're reading content, that is, when you're in the college, when you're trying to read through the documents, the research papers, or maybe the textbook material, or when you're working for companies, right? You're expected to be conversant, not just about communication with respect to speaking, reading, writing, listening, all of those. So basically they somehow feel that vocabulary is an important part of it. Either that's the right thing or a wrong thing, to what extent are they testing, that's all a different story. That's not something that we can debate and change. That's something we can have it some other time. But for this point, the goal that we had by putting this particular piece in this video is that they are expecting to test the student through the vocab based question, so that they have an understanding of how good your English is. For example, let's look at this piece of material which we picked from The Economist. That's the source. What I recommend you is pause the video and see how many words in this 2 paragraphs with this title as well, have the words which you do not know the meaning of, to a good extent. Maybe you don't need to know the exact meaning, but to a very good extent you can at least guess it based on the context. Right? Just note down, or maybe just count the number of words that you don't know the meaning of. Hope you have passed and tried. So as what we were trying to convey here, if you have like less than 5 words, or rather less than 2 to 3 words which you don't know in this piece of text, then you are pretty good. I would say you're doing good. This is relatively, I would say, easier piece to read. Not really hard, but if you don't know words like even the scandal, maybe the reminiscent, illustrious, embroiled, right, vanity, all of these are some medium to, I would say easy to medium level words. Some of them are, what I mean by that is that you are expected to know the meaning of these words because they are relatively more frequently used. You might see even more harder ones. When I say hard, basically that's supposed to be the thing which is not used frequently in our day-to-day materials and conversations, things which we keep seeing regularly. What makes a word let's say simple, let's say this is the word I'm talking about, simple. You know the meaning of the word simple, and you find it so easy when I ask you what is the meaning of simple. What is the reason for that? That's because we keep seeing it, keep using it, keep hearing it a lot in our day-to-day life. So the words that are very common to us in our, whatever the things that we read would, decide how good our vocabulary is. So if you don't have the practice or experience of reading materials which have good, relatively less frequently used words, you would definitely do not have a wide range of vocabulary. So basically GRE is trying to use 40 questions in the verbal section, that's the 2 sections together, to somehow gauge your entire vocabulary range, which is not really easy task to do. So is that fair enough? Maybe yes, no, but they are trying their best to somehow judge how good your vocabulary is, along with other parts of your language skills and reasoning skills, right? So what is the way that you can improve your vocabulary? That's very important. Let's talk about that. Fundamentally, what I believe is this, that the text completion sentence equivalence questions are at least 50 to 60% about knowing the meanings of the words. Maybe I would say more than that also, at least for the easier questions. If you know the meanings of each and every word used in the sentences and the options, properly, then the chance of getting it right is almost 70% to 80%. Right? It's not really hard, it's not really something to do with the techniques, etc., but it's also to do with contextual usage and understanding the sentences, even if you know the meanings. But that's something I would, allocate some 30%, 40% with in terms of weightage. But the most important thing I feel is that you have to know the meanings of the words. Right? So that's definitely an important thing. So you have to work upon improving your vocabulary depending on how good it is. For some of you, it might not be really a big deal. You're already having a good range of vocabulary, so maybe you don't have to worry a lot. If you are especially native speaker, that's a different story. But if you are a non-native speaker, which is what I would generally see as my students, so I would strongly say that it's definitely not going to be that easy. So if you already have a habit of reading a lot of quality material, then again, you might have a good range of vocabulary.